Fleet Street were out in full force as Prince Charles rode out the storm of speculation surrounding his marriage. The book, serialised in the Sunday Times today, claims it was the prince's indifference to his wife that caused her chronic depression and 5 separate suicide attempts. At the Queen's Cup polo tournament in Windsor Great Park this afternoon, all attention was on Camilla Parker Bowles, a long-time friend of Prince Charles, a relationship which the book claims sparked off jealousy in the princess. There's a growing impression of a monarchy under siege. As one observer said, there's a whiff of republicanism in the air.
It was a bit of a bombshell when it did come out.
The reaction to the publication of Diana Her True Story in June 1992 was astonishing.
I had a phone call from Diana that morning that it came out at 7 o'clock. What do I do? What do I do? I said, too late. Pour yourself a stiff whiskey and get drunk.
It was her first public engagement since the claims about her marriage were published, visiting a hospice in Southport, and the welcome was a particularly warm one. But it was during the speech that Princess of Wales began to show signs of strain.
I know I speak for everyone when I say that in all that you do, you reflect so very sincerely the philosophy of tender, loving care.
After those words and the applause from the patients and staff, the princess could be seen struggling to control her emotions, biting her lips to fight back the tears.
Various members of Parliament invited me to the Tower of London to stay at Her Majesty's pleasure. Various newspaper editors dismissed the book as a farrago of lies. So you found the whole establishment against you.
A few weeks afterwards, we learned the truth, that she had cooperated, not directly, but she had helped.
The interesting thing at the time was it showed you what Diana was up against, because this was the establishment red in tooth and claw, and they were baying for blood.
In a way, it didn't matter to me whether she had helped Morton or not. I very carefully didn't ask her. I mean, there are some questions it's much better not to ask. Ignorance can be real bliss. I certainly couldn't have continued to do my job if I had asked or if she had told me. My job was to promote her interests, to enable her to do the best job she possibly could as a royal princess. But what intrigued me at the time was that in the reaction to the Morton book, there was enormous criticism of the fact that it had been written. That seemed to matter far more than that some of the book might actually be true.
But the torrent of intimate revelations wasn't over yet. The press now published the text of a 2-year-old tape of a phone conversation between Princess Diana and a romantic admirer, car dealer James Gilby.
You're just the nicest person in the whole world.
Well, darling, you are to me too.
It now seems almost incredible, but even after all these revelations about the royal couple's sham marriage, Buckingham Palace tried to keep up appearances. Princess Diana appeared at the Queen Mother's 92nd birthday as part of the normal family group. And Diana was persuaded to continue her public appearances with Prince Charles by going with him on a state visit to South Korea.
But it did go right down to the wire, and because I had kept the Queen's office informed, I think in the end it was the Queen herself who intervened to explain to Diana how important it was that she should go ahead with this. And she did, but she did it with an ill grace.
From the moment they got out of the plane, they were clearly, it was actually terribly sad.
Something went on the plane. What I don't know, because I wasn't on the plane, I was already there in advance. But when the doors opened and they appeared in the doorway of the aircraft, I took one look and thought, oh God, we've lost it. And we had. We had.
As they got off the plane, you could see that not only did they not want to touch each other physically at all, they really didn't want to be in the same room as each other.
And the first photograph that came out Well, one of the first photographs, was the photograph of her in the car, she looking out of the window, very sullen, but it wasn't so much the looks on the faces, it was the body language that went with it as well.
I was back in England. I didn't go on that tour, but I was phoned, I suppose, sometimes 5 or 6 times a day by the princess, who left me in no doubt that I had condemned her to this awful experience. And she wasn't going to do it again, whatever anybody said.
In the Imjin River battle 41 years ago, 650 men of the Gloucestershire Regiment, supported by other elements of the 29th Commonwealth Brigade, kept at bay some 27,000 Chinese troops. In contrast,
My picture clear, everything seems so easy, and so I dealt to the blow. One of us had to go. Now it's different, I want you to know. One of us is crying, one of us is lying in a lonely bed, staring at the ceiling, wishing she was somewhere else instead.
and one of our highest elite schools at Wells, of which I have an invitation.
I suppose, in retrospect, you could see it served a useful purpose. We knew we'd come to the end of the road. There would be no more joint tours. This joint partnership with the Prince had no more life in it. So it was futile and indeed highly damaging to continue to try and make these two people operate together when they didn't want to.
Events now moved rapidly. Something had to be done about the royal couple, but divorce still seemed a complete no-no. Hurried talks were held between Buckingham Palace and the government. 4 weeks later, a decision was made which stunned the nation.
It is announced from Buckingham Palace that, with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate. Their Royal Highnesses have no plans to divorce, and their constitutional positions are unaffected.
Whatever uncertainties the last few weeks may have brought, I want you to be certain of this. Our work together will continue unchanged.
At Sandringham that Christmas, it was business as usual. As usual, that is, with one notable exception. There was no longer any Diana. A new threshold had been crossed in the royal marriage, and the drama was far from over. Next time, after her separation, Princess Diana is still the mother of a future king, but is now a woman alone. Romance doesn't seem to lead anywhere except to scandal.
The trouble with Diana was she was so unrealistic about men.
She defends herself.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
The Queen insists enough is enough.
The Queen wrote to both of them saying, get on, gotta have a divorce.
Diana starts a new life.
She looked great. She was confident.
But all too soon, the world is stunned by the unimaginable. It's the final act in the great drama that was the life of Princess Diana.
Stamping down on illegal activity and protecting the borders, Pick TV's off to the Emerald Isle at 9 tonight for a double bill of all new customs.